So this is gonna be on YouTube. So what's up, guys? I took 5 wins and 1 break even today on oil. So we're gonna be recapping everything that I took. We're gonna be recapping everything that I took. I'm gonna show the executions as well, just so you guys know that everything is actually taken and on the same account. So let's start. So first off, I took HO earlier, which is actually kind of crazy. Yeah, I took 5 wins and I took like 1 break even today. I'm gonna show everything. Don't worry. It's a good thing I didn't lose today. I almost did, cause look at this. This was my first trade, right? My stop was like here. My stop was like here, and I saw like negative 500. Yeah, my bad, bro. I only took 5. So I saw like negative 500, negative 550 at some point. I'm pretty sure. No, I took the 3 minute. So it was here. I was at like negative 500 at some point, and it didn't stop me. So I guess just me being lucky. And then I saw this, and it just kind of nuked, right? So coming off here, this logic is pretty simple. Starting from like midnight open on Wednesday, coming up into Thursday Asia, we've just been expanding, right? And you kind of know the rule when you have like 3-4 consecutive candles of expansion that you can expect a retracement. And so we got that in the 6 hour. If you look at the 4 hour, it's just like so much more. And so we're just basically intending to kind of get a retracement, right? I already did a recap on this in my channel, but we're just going to do it here for the sake of the actual video. And so first off, I was looking at this 4 hour SMT, but it didn't work out, right? This didn't work out. This SMT didn't work out. And it's basically the same as if you guys have watched my gap filtering video where you filter gaps off of if they get a follow through, and we get this SMT like this one right here, but we failed to get a follow through. So what I did, actually let's not go to replay so I can show the execution. So what I did here was, wait, can you guys not see the screen? Can you guys see the screen or no? Someone said no stream. Okay, there we go. So this didn't work out because we didn't get a follow through. Because look at the lower time frame on this one, right? We didn't get a follow through, and we got a rebreak. And so when the 4 hour, this candle is opening up here. Don't worry, guys. I'm recording, so even if you kind of miss it, you can just watch the recording. So look at this 2200 candle, right? Like 2 hours after this opens the 6 a.m. So you could just wait for the 6 a.m. candle as well. So if the 4 hour fails to deliver, this is something I'm gonna be talking about in the future with a lecture for you guys. I'm preparing the slides and the examples. It's basically about candle alignment, right? You can fade the 4 hour candle if the 6 a.m. is near. It's kind of the same as like say 10 a.m. opens up and we kind of have this huge candle, right? And you want to fade it, like your bias is bullish and this is a huge bearish candle. You can fade it at 12. If the 4 hour candle is like really large, at 6 a.m. at lunch hour open, you get a new 6 hour candle, and so by then you get a new candle with no large body, with no large wick, and so that's when you can fade it, and you kind of have the same logic applied here. And so I got an SSMT. I also mentioned this in the recap earlier that if you kind of have no key levels, right, to use, an SSMT will always be really good. Like say like you're like right here, right, like at all-time highs, you could use a 4 hour or a 6 hour as a key level, as a relevant level if there are no other relevant levels. I would never use it with the 1 hour. If I'm gonna use a 1 hour relevant level, like at like let's say like at an area where there's no relevant highs, I would wait for it to kind of create some structure, some consolidation, and then resweep. But if it's just like a pure 6 hour or 4 hour candle, then I can just use a resweep to trade that lower, right? And so when you got that logic right here, we got a 15-minute strength switch PSP as well. So if you look closely here, I'm gonna pull up 2 charts. I believe it was CL. Let me clean this up. So it was here. So as you can see, you got this strength switch PSP. Now I get a lot of questions as well asking if 50-minute high of day PSP is fine. The only time I would refrain from using the 15-minute as any Kraken correlation is if we're too high or too low in the range, because by then you would need like a higher time frame swing point to trade away from. But this is fine because we do get the follow through. So you get this, right? You get this 50-minute strength switch PSP right here. You get that PSP, and then after that, I was supposed to take CL here because it's the weaker asset. I also measured that by look at where CL is. It's not even above the weekly open, right? But if you look at AJO and you look at RB, they're both above the weekly open. So CL is considerably weaker. It is the one that is not making the sequential SMT as well. And so I was going to take this. I was waiting for the 3-minute, but it just kind of ran without me. And so you could take the 1 minute here. I just didn't think to look at the 1 minute. Like you could take like this candle close, right, with your stop here, and you would have made a lot. I would have made a lot more. Like targeting this low. But I was waiting for the 3 minutes since it was like a minute before this closes, and it kind of just ran without me. And I can't take RB as well. Like look how low it is in the range. And so I just took CL instead because all assets are expanding lower anyway, and you have on all assets, you do have this 4 consecutive sequence anyway, so it's fine to take any asset. It's just that, well, if you just look at this reaction that we did get here, that's kind of the price that I have to pay for taking the weakest asset, the lagging asset, right? No, my stop was here. I took it, my TP was down here. You can fade near the close of for yes, you can fade a large wick if a new 4 hour. It works the same as well with an hourly and a 90-minute. If you have a large hourly candle and you want to fade it, you can just wait for a 90-minute open because a 90-minute sometimes opens in the middle of an hourly candle, right? So sometimes a 9 a.m. sometimes a 90-minute open is like at 7:30, and at 7:30 is just the middle of the 7 a.m. candle. So if like the 7 a.m. candle is huge, you can wait for 7:30 for a new 90-minute open to fade the hourly candle. I'll talk more about this in depth on my because I'm gonna do a lecture about timing your entries with candle openings, right? So we're just gonna focus on the recap for now. So here's the executions here. I took this here, right at the close, and I TP down here. As you can see, I kind of bottom tick this, but I just had a limit, right? It's for like a 2.4, 2.5 arc because my stop was like right around here. I kind of forgot where I put it, but anyway, moving on. Let me clean this up for now. So as you can see, there are no losses. Here is just this asset. I didn't take anything else on HO. My next trade was CL, right? After that sequence, you kind of do have this 90-minute strength switch with CL and HO. So as you can see here, now you do kind of have a reversal put in, right? So I was targeting the open of the day because if you look at the weekly candle, right, I can't expect it to trade higher, and you kind of have your move higher. So I was just expecting this week to be kind of seek and destroy, and that is why I can fade this daily candle. We also have a 4-hour reversal candle, so I was expecting at least one asset to hit the new day opening gap, or like at least the low of day, and then possibly look for a delayed protraction profile, but we didn't get that. But anyway, if you look here, we have a sequential SMT, right? If you look at CL and HO here, it's also some sort of a strength switch, right? Because now even though there were no gaps here, I could still use it. Normally, if this was like an hourly or a 30-minute gap, I wouldn't use this. I don't use consecutive candle SMTs without a gap unless it is a sequential SMT. So as you can see, you see how CL is just moving lower, just expanding lower. It's much weaker. And if you look at HO, it is the one that is printing higher, right? It's also a kind of a two-stage where you see how the 3 a.m. 90-minute closes, it's bullish. And the 3 a.m. 90-minute here, it closes bearish, right? And then the asset that closes bearish is the one that sweeps the high, where since it closed bearish, it is weaker. So it should be the other way around, right? It should be the asset that closes bearish is the one that doesn't sweep the high. But since now the asset that is closing bullish is the one that is not taking the high, that is your strength switch. That's your two-stage strength switch. Now, I see a lot of people I see that a lot of people took this CSD, which is a really good entry. It's just that I couldn't take this because I don't take assets like this when the asset that is weaker, like this is the lagging asset, right? Let me pull up double charts so it's easier. So this is the lagging asset, right? Let me move there. This is the lagging asset. I cannot short this unless the lagging asset also CSDs lower. So if you look at where the CSD happened, it was 527. It was just jerking, right? It wasn't showing me willingness to go lower. So despite there being a two-stage 90-minute SSMT, I would still probably never short this because this asset, I want to see this asset, this lagging asset, show willingness to expand lower as well. It is being recorded. I want to show this expand lower as well, right? Because if this asset isn't showing willingness to trade lower, then this asset cannot expand lower with great speed and with high probability, right? Because you want all assets to be in sync when you're trading. So if I'm shorting CL, I want the whole triad to be in sync. And if this asset isn't showing me that it's going lower, then I cannot expect this to trade lower as well. And so I didn't take this. I chose not to take this. Now I could have done the same thing that I did right here, 530. I could have done the same thing I did right here, right? Because I left the charts because I was like, I'll just wait for this. And I set an alert right here. And once the alert popped, I was downstairs. I was like making coffee or something. I think I was making coffee, like reheating my food. And so I would have taken this on HO as well. This is completely permissible to these lows. But I was too late. By the time I got on the charts, it was already like down here. So what I instead did was I set a 15-minute limit to here, which was still valid because if you look, I set it at this breaker. Because if you look at this, right, if you look at the level where I'm setting the limit at, I'm basically just taking it where I would have taken HO. So this is a bit more discretionary thing. I would probably never advise you guys to do the same thing because you guys could just get caught up in just limiting 50-minute. But for the sake of this execution, this is what I did. Start getting this for like a 2.3R. But this was the more valid asset to take because if you look 550, where the 5-minute closes, 550, this asset is long gone. You would be shorting in discount, which is never a good idea. So either you wait for this to retrace and take a limit order at some PDRA at like premium, so shorting at premium, or you take the asset that is still in premium. You short the asset that's in premium, and this is what I did here, right? This is what I did. I should have taken this, which was a better one, but instead I took CL and kind of, paid the price for it as well. So I got in here. Once we kind of had this reaction where it's not really showing me willingness to trade lower, and we get this reaction right there, I took like one off, right? And then I took the rest at break even, as you can see. I have my limit there. I got filled like somewhere around here. I don't know why. It's probably like slippage, but some of my accounts got filled here, some of my accounts got filled here, some got filled here. For some reason, I took partials here, and I took the rest off at break even, right? As you can see, this was around my break even, right? So there's no losses there as well. So you guys can see that is the whole execution idea. And so I got like half. No, it wasn't half. I was in this with like 2 cons. I think 2 or 3 cons. I took like 1, like at this low. But that is a pretty wacky trade. Ideally, you take HO. I TP'd when HO took this low. Yeah, I took one when HO took this low, which is around 7. Yeah, as you can see. So ideally, again, you want to take HO here because it is the asset that you could still short in premium. So let me recap this again. It's 550. Look at where 550 closes on a CL and RB. It's already in discount, and you never want to short in discount. You want to short in premium. So either you short the asset that is still in premium. Now, who can tell me why I can short HO here? Now, why is it possible for me to short HO even if HO is the lagging? Who can tell me? I don't have water. Hold on. Yeah, failure to reverse. And also, all assets are expanding lower, right? So you can take any asset, you can't go wrong with any asset. I just can't anticipate this strength switch where HO hits the lows and CL doesn't, but we use it as a catalyst to kind of trade higher, to trade back higher. And so you could take this as well. It was a decent 2-hour trade. But we move to the next one. So my next trade here is, if you look, we have this. Let me remove the executions for now so there's less noise in the charts. So we have this sweep of the relevant level right here, right? As you can see, we kind of have this APD sequence where HO is below the low, CL is like right here, and I do believe we have a PSP, right, at 730. Because I long this at 730, 715. Wait, hold on, let me find it. let me find this correct correlation I used. 730. Okay, yeah, you kind of do have this APD sequence, right? Where this asset is in a gap, this asset is below the gap, right? If you look at 730 right here. Oh my god, why can't I move the chart? Why can't I move the chart? All right, there we go. And so you basically have that. And if you look at RB as well, it is reversing as well. As you can see, RB is right there and it's reversing higher as well. All assets are trading higher, right? And so as you can see, we also CSD higher here, right? Now this is important, as I mentioned before. The asset that is lagging, I want to see the lagging asset. I want to see it show willingness to trade higher as well if I want to long. So I basically require this asset to show me willingness that it wants to trade higher as well, right? I don't think there are micro contracts for HRB. There is, but they have like really low volume. Let's check it. Yeah, they have like no volume, so you can't really trade it even, right? And so again, so once I saw that this asset is showing me willingness that it wants to trade higher as well, all assets are reversing, all assets are going in the same direction, as you can see. So I took CL here. I took CL because it was, again, the premise here is that CL wants to lag to like this high, because you see CL is the one that is farthest from this open. As you can see, HO and RB are above this open. CL is like not above that open as well. And so we have this SMT, kind of a strength switch, allowing CL, that is now the stronger asset, to trade higher. So I took this on CL, this CST. I have my stop down there. And at first, no, my stop was like right around here. I set around the breaker. Yeah, this breaker right there. And so initially, I actually took one off here, right? I took one off here because I thought, like, for some reason, I thought that we wouldn't get above this high, right? So I just took like a partial, because I was in this with 3 contracts. So I took one off here and I just held the rest. I just went break even, right? I don't really know why. It was human error, right? I also make mistakes, guys. So I took one off here for some reason. If I was paying attention and I saw it was like, it wasn't even a 1 hour partial, then I probably wouldn't have partial there. But then again, I could have held this to this high, but I didn't hold it, just because if you look at the 4 hour, you're just kind of fading this, right? I don't like longing like at the wick form eventually. So I just kind of held this. I just kind of held the 2, and then I TP'd the rest at 2R basically. I TP'd the rest at like around 2R, I believe. Yeah, at around 2R. So let me show the executions there as well. Yeah, it was around 2R. Oh my god, it's a horrible fill. But this was a very low R trade. I don't know why I didn't hold this. For some reason, there was something in me, like intuitively, telling me that it's not going to go higher. Although my bias was ultimately to trade higher, right? My bias was ultimately to trade higher. I thought for some reason that we're probably just going to get like this SMT fill or something and then trade higher. So I was just saving myself the break even and just wanting to re-enter, which I did re-enter anyways right there. But this was a very bad execution in my part. Definitely really bad execution on my part. So I shouldn't even have taken this. So, but it was still a win regardless. It was around a 1.5R win. So we're just going to take that. And from here now, as you can see, my next trade, it was here, I believe. Where was it? It was here. RB, I think. It was RB. Wait, let me find the correct correlation. I'm sorry. I forget. I think it was with RB. 30-minute, possibly. Yeah, it was RB. Or is it the hourly? Okay, yeah, it was an hourly SMT fill. Yeah, all just moves, dude. Like, look at this. This chart is just so funny. Like, I just took so much. I won so much today. It's kind of crazy. So, if you look at CL now, we have this 1 hour SMT fill, 1 hour SMT fill. Now, here's when. Are you still holding it? 97.37. Oh, yeah. You're holding it to, like, the opening gap? Yeah, I think. Yeah, exactly, dude. It's moving like prime metals right now. It's just so easy to make money on gold. And so now, with an SMT fill, obviously, you only need the 1 stage, right? And so I took this SMT fill, this one stage SMT fill here. Now I can take this, but my requirement is that, as I mentioned before, I need all assets to expand, right? And as you can see here, all assets are expanding higher. If you look at 910, RB, CSD higher, CL, CSD higher, HO, right here is showing me willingness to go higher as well, because we also got this, and at the open we also got a gap up. I saw this gap up, and that's why I took it. But if it was just this, I probably wouldn't have longed it. I probably would have with like half conviction. But as soon as I saw this open, I just took CL. As you can see, my execution is right at the open, right? Because then it's showing me that all assets are willing to trade higher, right? All assets are basically willing to trade higher. What's up, Genius? All assets are willing to trade higher, and if all assets are willing to trade higher, then yeah, you could take any asset, but you preferably take the leading or the middle asset, right? It's just that with the age show trade that I showed earlier, you should have taken the lagging, just because it is the only one that is in premium. You want to short in premium, or you could set like I did. You could set a limit at some random PDRA in premium, right? No, I don't think there was anything on indices today, so I took this CSD. And my stop down here, and I first TP'd. I TP'd here when AJO took the highs. So AJO took the highs. I had an alert which got hit for some reason, even though it was equal highs. It got hit at 921, and as you can see, my exit was at 921 right as AJO hit the high. And then we kind of got this sloppy move lower, right? I didn't move it break even, or I didn't move my stop break even yet, but rather I moved it to like the low of this gap. Just because it's like I was still in there with like 2 more contracts, so it's like a $500 loss. $500 loss. I don't really care about that, because I'm basically just like risking 500 to kind of make like a lot more. And so I just TP'd here because it was just being lethargic. I thought for sure, holy, what is going on? I thought for sure that we would probably just gonna go lower as well. I just didn't expect. If you just look at this 4-hour candle, like this sequence lower. Right, I just didn't expect it to kind of just move back higher after that sequence. I don't like, I don't like trading it when like the 6 hours kind of awkward like this, right? I don't like trading into a candle body that is the opposite direction. So that is why a lot of my decisions were influenced today, and that is why I took a lot of break evens today. I definitely could have held this all the way to the highs, but I mean, it's just like an extra 1 hour, so I didn't really mind. Also, I was playing League, so I just kind of wanted to get out of this trade. But regardless, it was a 2-hour trade here as well. Right, so my first TP was around 2R. My stop here. So my first TP was around 2R, and then I took the rest of like 1.8, 1.7R. Like really low R trades, but they're so really high probable. I should have held it to this high. This is my mistake. It's a human error. I should have held it to this high, but it's fine. And then finally, finally the RB trade. So I was expecting all assets to hit this high because we have a defined reversal. We have an SMT fill. We have a defined reversal. We have continuation sequences. Metals? No, I missed it. And then you have continuation sequences that are being given. So I was sure all assets are gonna hit the high, right? And so I took this CSD higher and RB, right? It was here. My entry was around here at the open. I have my stop down here, and then I TP'd when what the hell, bro? Are indices trading higher now? Yeah. So I TP'd when I took this with 3 contracts, and I took 2 off when CL hit the high. So as you can see, when did we hit the high? We hit the high at 10:27, and I exited here at 10:27 as well. At the highs, you can see, and then afterwards we kind of got this it's kind of lackluster move with like no defined follow through, as you can see. So it was just that. Again, I mentioned when I started the stream, when I hopped on the stream, I wanted to see a follow through with this CSD, because again, I don't like fading bodies, right? And so once we got this CSD higher, right, and I saw this close, I just closed my position like right around there. And so that is everything that I took on metals. Like really, really good day, honestly. I printed like, I don't even know how many RR I took today. Probably like 10, 15. But regardless, yeah. You guys have questions about the trade? That is everything that I took. I didn't take anything on indices, as you can see. Execution is on. I didn't take anything on indices today. There was nothing to take on indices today, in my opinion. Like, I watched everything. There was nothing. I would not long indices. Like, look at this. I'm not, again, I mentioned, I don't want to fade candles. And so I'm not really expecting price to just kind of take higher here after. The daily doesn't support it, right? But you could long it to the 1800 open. I just don't like the sequence that is being printed right now. So it's pretty ass, bro. Like, it's pretty ass. Like, look at this sequence. I don't want to long this. I don't expect that we're gonna hit this. Probably gonna get something at like 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. But that's like 2 a.m. for me. And I have to be up really early tomorrow, so I can't be bothered to stay awake for that. And so yeah, that's everything that I took on indices today. If you guys have questions, yeah, ask them now. I'm gonna end the recording though.